we're only at 1.5. We still got 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 to go before we even get to 2 to 3. So I'm thinking sometime after Jonas's term we'll get to meet again. So
Yeah, well, I'm at 2.1, as in 21 more days.
right?
I think we found a use for the trailer.
Reminding everybody that you need to be paying up your money each week, please.
Yes. So we can
Sergeant.
So we can. Good job, Monica. Nicely done. I think we'll maybe you should need to send an email out to everybody too, because I think a lot of people have missed a lot of meetings.
Right.
So good job.
Right. Just it's still reminding people, otherwise they forget.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
But
you
no,
for the
that's good.
reminder this evening.
Well, let's go ahead and start. We're a little late, but it looks like we have a full house. We've got a good attendance today. Thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate it. We have with us today, we do have a speaker today, which is Steve. I talked to Steve Walter about, I don't know, 30 minutes, less than 20 minutes ago. He says, we have a speaker, and I thought, I know we have a speaker, but I just looked at the calendar and there's no speaker there. So I thought, well, Susan maybe we scheduled her for a little bit later. And then she sent me an email. We had completely forgot to send her a link. So I quickly sent her a link, and here she is. She was right on time at 5:30.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry, that's my bad. My day job interfered with my life.
I thought I was just about to say it was my bad, because I thought my day job got in the way. But
I'm just glad. Hey, I'm just glad I didn't believe you, Leroy, because I was trying to debate on whether to put shorts on or not. So I decided I better put some shorts on just in case we had a speaker, because all the rest of you are family. So.
Well, I'm glad you have something on.
Well, I can control the cameras. From here.
Yeah.
We might be a little estranged after that.
Well, I think in all fairness to Susan, maybe we should just talk to her, and then if she's got other things to do, and I know she does, then she can just leave our meeting. But so Susan Kingsbury, is it Como?
I don't pronounce it correctly, actually. It's supposed to be Comeau, but I
Como.
say
Como is with us today, and so she's the director down at the senior center, and I just spoke with her last week, I think, for the very first time, which I thought to myself, and we've always been talking as a Rotary group, we've always talked about having a much better connection with the senior center. And, we started that, the whole idea of meeting there at the senior center, and then COVID hits, and, and I feel like we kind of lost our momentum, although everybody else has lost some momentum with that as well. But, so when we talked last week about, because NEAR had gone ahead and got 200 of those masks with some donated money that we had earlier in the COVID process. And so I talked to Susan, and we were able to get them down there over to there last week. So that was really cool. We had a great conversation, and I think that this is the start of a much better connection between Rotary and the Senior Center, us being there, using the meeting space, which is an awesome meeting space, and it's going to work out really great for us. And it helps the North Bend Bakery. We can get our food brought in by those guys, and so it's great. It's a big deal. It's a good deal, and I'm really glad that she and I had spoken last week. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, why have we not spoken sooner? So anyway, we're lucky to have her today, and because she can give us an idea of what's going on over at the senior center, some of the things that some of the obstacles, difficulties that you folks have faced with this whole pandemic deal, and and where the future is going. Maybe a little bit of talk about lack of housing, which has always been a big deal here in North Bend, but some progress is being made, which is cool. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about you. I know a lot of the Rotarians here know you.
I
But yeah,
recognize more faces than I thought. Hi, Nancy. You're down in my bottom left-hand corner. I was very happy to see you. But I recognize so many faces here. This is great. So we're among friends. That's good.
yeah, oh yeah.
Let's see. So let me tell you about the senior center. So I've been here 5 years. Came on as executive director, and when I came on, it was actually probably not in great shape is the best way to say that. We had some financial issues. We'd had turnover for 5 years since Ruth had left, since Ruth Tomasoff had left. We were seeing a new executive director once every 5 years, and so we were never getting traction on some bigger initiatives. And of course, I came in with very big ideas in my head, some of which were correct and some of which weren't a thing. But what we do, we are now serving about 1,000 seniors every year from Snoqualmie and North Bend primarily, but we also see people from the surrounding areas, Fall City, Issaquah, Sammamish, Redmond, some of the seniors who've moved over to the other sides of the mountains. I'll remind you of what it is we do. I know you know it, but we provide lunches, so we contribute to increased nutrition for seniors. We provide social and recreational activities, including, tabletop games, groups of what I would call affinity groups, people who like quilting, people who like arts and crafts, that sort of thing. We have people who like to puzzle, people who like to color, people who like to play pool. We have fitness classes. We run about, 3 hours every day, 5 days a week, 15 plus a couple of extra hours, probably about 17, 18 hours of fitness classes every week. And we see hundreds and hundreds of people each year for those fitness classes. We do some other stuff. No, we also, sorry, I've been up since 8 o'clock doing Zoom calls almost the entire time, so I'm a little zoomed out. We provide resources to seniors. This is one of the things. So it's really important to think about aging, I think, as another phase in one's development, right? It's a developmental phase of life. And just like, thankfully children have parents there who've kind of been through what it is to grow older. Plus we've got all these books on how to be a great parent, right? So we help these cute little ones with their developmental phase. But by the time we get to this age, we don't have as many people who are, totally 100% on our side. In fact, we've accepted that we're supposed to have learned how to learn things, right? But not everything's a no-brainer. And aging isn't necessarily a no-brainer. There's a bunch of stuff coming at you. It's as dynamic as any other phase of life. And the challenge becomes how to maintain your vitality and how to stay engaged in the world, how to still do that thing that's so hard, make those critical friendships, right? It doesn't get easier just because you're older. In fact, in some ways, it's very much like that lunchroom gauntlet that you run, in middle school, where you're new in middle school and you don't know what table to sit at. So there's all of that. There's a deep desire to belong among people who join or come to the senior center. And in fact, you don't have to be a member here to come here. We will feed you regardless of your ability to pay. If you're 60 and older, that is. If you're under 60, it's a required $7. We will provide you a space to be with others and to find friends. And we're going to create opportunities for you to find others who are going through the same sort of phase of life. And so we're super proud that we're seeing increased numbers over the last few years, but also that the programs that we provide are more robust, that they're better attended. Nothing does, inspire someone to do something as much as seeing others succeeding, others like them succeeding in certain programs, making friends, better fitness, better nutrition. So we're really happy about where things have come in the last few years. Um, we're seeing more people of color join us. We're seeing a wider variety of people. We're seeing people stay longer. Their commitment, the people who come to the senior center are staying here longer throughout the day. And so it's not, when I came here, it was a little bit of a ghost town after 1 o'clock. As soon as lunch was over, everyone was gone. And now we're having to, you know, call last orders many times after 4 o'clock, which is what time we close. Which I think is great and bodes well for the future. I think that the ability to do more for our community means that we're going to have to think of new ways to be available to people. And COVID is one of these experiences. We've got to rethink how it is that we make ourselves available to everyone. And so it's not been an area of strength for us, I will tell you, being online. And we will pivot to that this summer. But let me tell you what we are doing during COVID. So during this pandemic, we closed on March 11th at the end of the day. And on March 12th, we started our Meals to Go program. And it started off with probably about, I'd say, 20 people saying, you know, I need meals. I've relied on you for meals. I need meals. We're providing meals either both through curbside pickup and through our transportation program, Snoqualmie Valley Transportation. And in the time that we've been serving meals, we've gone from 20 people a day to anywhere from 45 to 50 people a day in just a couple of months. What we do ask is that the seniors who sign up for a full week, because this is a program that's intended to feed people who really need a meal, whose financial resources or their physical ability or their motivation to feed themselves or how to create a balanced meal, that something's not quite there and they really need that resource. So we're not asking people to, you know, hey, I like roast beef, but I don't like chicken, so I'm going to drop in, drop off, whatever. People who need meals are getting meals. And that, and sort of asking people to sign up for 5 days a week allows us to be efficient with the money and the resources that we have, both the human resources and also to be able to plan so that there's not excess waste. Not that we would waste it, but you know, you want to know that you're ordering 45 chicken thingies for a day. I'm not a cook. Chicken thingies for a day versus, you know, 50 or 60 and sticking it in some freezer. We're good at that sort of thing. My chef calls it utilization. She knows about that. I don't. So to date, we've had 77 different seniors use this program, and we've served almost 2,400 meals so far. This is going to continue until we're in phase 4, and I'll tell you why phase 4 is so important in just a couple minutes. We envision, though, that even once we're able to resume on-site programming, that Meals to Go, whether it's by delivery or by curbside pickup, will need to continue until seniors are comfortable coming back. So I see us doing some form of this until the end of the year. We've also been doing social and wellness calls. So we've got 2 staff and volunteers who are making calls to seniors every week or every other week, depending on what the senior wants. And what we did was we took our database. We track everyone who comes into the senior center, and we looked at we kind of compressed everything into households, and we've identified about 450 households who regularly and routinely use the senior center over the course of the last year to 18 months, and I guess the last year. And so we've been making regular phone calls, and I think we've made, you know, again, 18 volunteers plus 2 staff making calls anywhere from every week to every other week. We've made several thousand phone calls at this point, 5,000-6,000 phone calls. And the importance of this is that Seniors, we don't know how many of the seniors we serve are connected via the internet. So we started off, we did a survey several years ago, and the seniors who use the senior center were saying that they get their information from print, from our newsletters and anything that's handed to them. And that the internet, email, social media, that wasn't really a thing. I will tell you, I've been on a lot of different kinds of community meetings now, and I'm starting to think that that might not totally hold anymore. That when people are interested in being at church or being at Rotary or attending a city council meeting, that they're going to actually dig in and figure it out. So this summer, we're going to work on developing more online programming, or to develop online programming, but also to develop programming that we can take up when we reopen. That's small group training on how to use your devices or how to connect socially. So we don't have the funds, and we're not the technical people or the technology people who can really buy laptops and provide phones and internet service to seniors. But what we can do is find ways to partner with organizations, agencies, or businesses to get some volunteers who are really skilled in this area and who want to make that kind of a volunteer commitment to training groups of seniors, because there's always going to be a reason why you can't come to the senior center. If it's not location, it's going to be that hip surgery or that knee surgery, or you're taking care of a loved one, or you're a caregiver, or, you know, God forbid, it's another COVID shutdown, right? Snow is another reason. If we have a way to ensure that there's opportunities for people to connect and to feel part of community, that's really important. And the reason why we do all these things is because we know that nutrition's important. Got to feed the body, got to feed the soul and the spirit with some friendship, and you gotta just keep your body fit so that it can keep doing for you what you need it to do. So those are sort of the things that we do year round, and we find that during COVID we're doing them in new and different ways, but we're still doing it, and that's the good news. I will tell you that on the sort of the opposite side of that, it's been a challenge because we rely on our thrift store to help us fill the gap in terms of our funding, and our thrift store's closed. Most of our volunteers are 65 and older, so that's going to be a challenge to reopen as well. We rely on program funds from our fitness classes. That was a small profit center for us, and some of our other programs that we charge for. And there's not a lot, but we really do actually rely on those to help us fill the gap. It's been a crazy environment in terms of going after money. I have a grant deadline every day at 5 o'clock. I've put in 5 grants in 5 business days. It's fabulous. I've got 2 more this week still. I hope I'm successful. If so, then let's just mute this part of the conversation because we'll be good. But I don't know. It's a strange environment to be operating in. What makes it even more strange is some of our accomplishments during this time are extraordinary. If you had told me in 2017 that we would buy an apartment building, putting all of $50 down of our own money, I wouldn't have believed you, but we did it. We closed on Cascade Park Apartments in March, like on March 27th or something like that. So this is great. This is really great. We've had fantastic partners. King County, City of Snoqualmie, and King County Housing Authority have been great, as well as our electeds. Kathy Lambert really went to bat for us. Kim Schreier and Reichert put pressure on at the federal level with the USDA. Paul Graves, Jay Rodney, Bill Ramos. Those guys did a lot at the state level for us. So it was really kind of this cool group effort. I mean, really, truly like a team effort to get this done. So we bought Cascade Park Apartments. It has 28 apartments in it. Prior to us owning it, it was marked to be, it was going to go up for sale, and it was going to go to market rate. And there were only 6 months in which an organization could step forward and say, hey, we're a nonprofit and we want to preserve affordable housing for seniors. And, you know, right under the bell, we got our offer in, and that was in early 2018. And we worked also with this other group, J.H. Bronner, located up on Snoqualmie Ridge, a very mighty group. I did not know about them, and now I know how much they know how to move mountains to get affordable housing done. So we started working with this really great team of people, and we were able to assume the underlying USDA loan. It's a U.S. Department of Agriculture property. We were able to acquire the underlying mortgage, get a new mortgage, and get $2 million. Oh, no. Well, and get $2 million from King County. So whatever, it's like a $6.7 million deal in total. The King County money is largely going to go to renovations, but we did this deal, and in the process, upped the number of units that were such that a senior only has to pay 30% of their income to live there. There were only 7 units out of the 28 that were like that, and we got it up to 27. It took us a year to find all the vouchers. They're really hard to find, and we got them. So we're one short, you know. It's a miracle. And the purpose of those vouchers, it's interesting because affordable housing sort of works like this closed financial system, where the people loaning you the money, the USDA, say the rent on your apartment is going to be, let's just call it an easy 1,000 to make it easy on my brain. $1,000. It's not. It's like 870 something, but $1,000. Your tenants only need to pay 30% of their income. So if they make $300 a month, they're paying $100 in rent. The other $900 is covered by USDA, right? All that money stays in the same closed financial system. We make nothing on this project whatsoever. But what we do is we steward the project, and we are, you know, the guardian angel of the project, so that we have preserved housing for seniors in perpetuity. So it's not just today's seniors, it's all the seniors to come. And, you know, it requires a little time and attention, but not lots. Well, right now lots because of renovations, but in a year, not lots. And we're going to renovate the property as well. This is fantastic. I mean, there's a special place in heaven for me based on this work alone, I think. I'm so happy about it. It's really, really fantastic work. And I will tell you that the seniors who live there came to me, and, you know, early in 2018 and said, oh, please, is there any way that you can save our housing? And I just had to keep saying, I don't know, I can try. And it seems super impossible. There were many times that we thought it wasn't going to go forward. It was a heartache for sure for 2 years.
Susan, are you at full occupancy right now?
We have 2 apartments that are unoccupied right now because we're trying to look at whether or not we need to start the renovations in those apartments first. I think where we landed last week is I said, you know, I'd rather see the apartments occupied, and if we have to move someone for a couple of days, we'll deal with that. But for the deal to work, we have to be at 100% or very close to 100% occupancy. And then there's the old manager's unit. So one of the things that we did is Cascade Park Apartments. I speak with my hands, and my hands haven't showed the whole time, but I see my little face now. So Cascade Parks is here and Snow Ridge is here, right?
Yeah.
We have the manager living over at Snow Ridge, but now she's going to split her management time. So she's going to be full-time between. So we found efficiencies. Same thing, the emergency maintenance guy. So we're finding efficiencies by having the 2 buildings next to each other. which is great, right?
Yep.
This is good news. That's how Cascade Park Apartments operates on such a thin margin, like a knife thin margin. But like I said, we're really good at we did this much, right? So we can do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
right. We can do it. So that's been really cool. The renovations are going to include modernizing the elevator, replacing carpets throughout, replacing cabinets. I will tell you at Snow Ridge, one of our modernization efforts has been, and now I'm talking about the other apartment building, we actually modernized the building over the first 2 or 3 years I was here, plus we refinanced it as well. And I didn't know anything about affordable housing or housing before I got here. So yeah, go figure. But we've been modernizing the bathtubs as well at Snow Ridge Apartments so that it's that low profile to get in, to make it easier to get in. So
Yeah.
we're in the work that we did at Snow Ridge, we extended the life of that property by about 50 years. So this is good news. We want to be, like I said, good stewards of the assets that we have, and we also want to make sure that we're maximizing the opportunity to provide housing for seniors, because being part of your community for as long as you can be part of your community is really important. It's going to help you have a much more enjoyable life, a much more engaged life, and these really are apartment communities or senior communities. And, if we could do more of this, this would be a good thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the housing need. So I did a calculation that now I hear repeated back to me by elected officials all the time, and I actually can't really remember it. I think I had calculated at one point based on our wait lists. The wait lists are about 2.5 years long to get into these apartments, and you have to meet income criteria. You can only make a certain amount of money. But based on that and looking at the statistics for income among people in the appropriate age groups, I had calculated something like the need for senior housing could be as great as low-income senior housing could be as great as like 330 people in Snoqualmie Valley. We've got a population of 56,000 people. And, when you start to work it backwards, there's conceivably, 300 people who could benefit from having affordable housing. A lot of seniors, in my experience, tend to live in their homes maybe longer than they're able to maintain them. And there's a drain on resources when that happens. And the home is the big asset, right? If you're an owner. But not all seniors are owners. It's interesting the number of decisions I've seen seniors make, wanting to be closer to their kids being one of them. They've sold the asset. They've moved to Snoqualmie to be closer to their kids. And now they need a place to live. And or the other situation I've seen is where they've gone and they've lived with the kids, and now the kids don't really want them there, and they feel like they're a burden, and they didn't really plan for that. So there are actually more seniors couch surfing than you would imagine, and that's really hard, and that's actually really emotionally difficult to deal with. But yeah, that one's a hard one. Anyway, we're doing what we can, and we continue to Quad City of North Bend and City of Snoqualmie a little less so, only because I'm personally very tight with a lot of the people in North Bend. It's by virtue of where I live and who comes to lunch here. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, and the fact that Mayor Ken, loved this place and was here 3 times a week, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So anyway, we continue to look for opportunities to support seniors with housing, and I will continue to do so. My board might not be thrilled to hear that, but I think it's an important aspect of senior living. We have so much work to do in so many areas. That's why I say they might not be thrilled, but I don't care when it's the right um, as you may know, we run Snoqualmie Valley Transportation and the Valley Shuttle. And if you haven't had Amy Biggs come and talk to you about transportation, you should. She runs transportation. I don't know so much about that, but what I do know is that we run buses, little like sort of loop buses all around Snoqualmie and North Bend and Carnation and Duval now. And then we run the Valley Shuttle up and down the valley all the way to Monroe, which is really great if you're on dialysis, because that's the
Oh,
closest
yeah.
dialysis place, right? So our little circulator buses can pick people up at their homes in most cases. So they do what's called a deviated route, and they just sort of go around in their little circle. And when someone's got a request over here, they just pop off for a little bit, come back, and go back on the circulator route. So really great if you need to take your car into Les Schwab, or if you don't drive anymore, or if you my husband looks at it. My husband's 55. He's like, great, I have a lift up to Rattlesnake and I can mountain bike down. Perfect. So anyone in the community can use the buses. That's the really great part. So they're doing summer free rides again for students. And I will tell you that during COVID, they've been offering rides for free. So I guess it's a free ride this year. Most of it, right? They've also been delivering food from the food bank during COVID, and are delivering lunches. They know how to route things and do it really efficiently, and that's a pretty cool program, all in all. There are a couple of other things that we do that I want to tell you about. We are partners in a project called Supportive Community for All, which I partner with Snoqualmie Valley Community Network, Snoqualmie Valley Food Bank, Encompass, Hope Link, and then us. So that's the 5 of us. We put in a grant back in 2017. December 2017 was very busy. The Cascade Parks came up, and then this grant opportunity. And what we said was in the grant is that we find that people have to be very tenacious in order to access the human and social services that they need in the valley, because we're so separated, because some stuff's available at 4 o'clock every second Tuesday at such and such a place, right? So we've got this sort of asynchronous thing going on, and then we've got this geographic sort of dispersion. And we said, well, we'd like to see that human and social services are coordinated and that the handoffs between agencies are really efficient. And so we put in for this grant, we got this money, and we pulled together, we did a couple things. We actually commissioned a community needs assessment. And so for the first time, we understand better the needs of our Snoqualmie Valley community. This is a nugget of gold for every human and social service agency in the valley. Because when you go to ask for money and they ask for data about how do you know this is a need, if you can't talk about the need where you live, your argument's just gotten weaker, and your hold on that money, that grant money, has disappeared. So this was super important. And when I sat down and did the first draft of the grant request, I threw that in because I held on tight to it, and everyone saw value in it right away. So we produced this community needs assessment. It's gone out and been shared with every organization. It was shared at the Leaders Summit last August that the network puts, the Snoqualmie Valley Community Network puts on. We've engaged hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in getting feedback for the needs assessment, but also to put their eyes on the needs assessment and tell us what it means for them, and how does that resonate, and is there anything that we've missed. So it's really, like I said, nugget of gold. We also pulled together a working group of people from Upper and Lower Valley to consider what it is, because it's got to be a community-driven solution. We used community to develop a solution for how to coordinate human and social services. And the working group just finished their work in April. And what they've come up with is a couple of things. And we put in for a grant to implement these things. I'll tell you the end of the story first. Put in another grant to implement these things, and we got funded. Yay! Because that's what we like to do. So, we're doing a handful of things. The first thing that we're going to do actually goes back to relating to COVID. Imagine, if you will, go to the doctor and you've busted your arm, right? And you've got to go for an x-ray. And then you got to go to the orthopedist, and you got to do some PT, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And somehow your record follows you everywhere, right? HIPAA compliant. You ask for a little more information, but when you show up at the desk, they know what you're there for. They ask you for a little more information, but they know what they're providing to you today. Imagine if you could have that with Human and Social Services. How awesome would that be? You show up at the senior center, you need help with your electric bill. I want to refer you over to HopeLink. And when you get to HopeLink, not when you get to HopeLink, HopeLink reaches out to you and says, I understand you need help with financial assistance for electricity. Let's make an appointment, or let's get on a Zoom call, or whatever it is. We're going to connect with you and we're going to help you out. There is, in fact, software that does that. And we are about to contract to get that software and share it out with every agency that we can. We're going to pilot it first, but we want to bring every agency in to get on this HIPAA compliant software so that this kind of information can get shared among agencies who need to help one another out with their clients so that their clients are really that their needs are met. We're also looking at we need to work on an online presence, sort of the build awareness, really is what I would call it. We need to build awareness of the services that are available among people in the community and how they can access that. So that's a campaign in and of itself. And then there's another component, which is looking at a brick and mortar solution, Upper Valley, Lower Valley, some sort of drop-in service center, because again, that some of that face-to-face, one of the strengths that we have in the Valley is that we're very supportive of each other, but we also rely on those relationships, and some of those relationships get built face-to-face. And so we want to see if we need to do a feasibility study to see if we can build to what's called a multi-service center at each end of the Valley. So I've been really proud of this work, and it's been a little bit quiet, and it's about to go into not quiet phase anymore, which is going to be really nice. There's one other thing that work that's about, one of the things that underpins that supportive community for all is this idea that everyone has a place in our community. And so with that spirit in mind, I've partnered with Snow Valley Senior Center and with Issaquah Senior Center to create what's called the Far East Senior Hub. And the idea of this is that we've become a negotiating block with services that previously have only really been available in, say, Seattle or Bellevue, and that we get those services out here so that we're able to provide language appropriate services for Latino community members, for Asian community members, that we're able to serve the LGBTQ community in a way that is appropriate and sensitive to their needs, that we are able to develop outreach programs to more isolated seniors who wouldn't really even walk in through our doors. And so what we've got is sort of this, the three senior centers working together with what I would call trusted partners to develop programs that will make sure that our reach is far greater out in the community, like a big old spider web. So we're going to create this big sticky network between all these projects of supports for people in our community. And that's been really exciting work too. And I forgot to mention, this is the thing where I thank you and tell you, as I told Lorraine, I owe you a grant report. We're doing renovations at the senior center. Last year, sorry, all the years since 2017, they all seem the same. It's all the same work day. I swear. We started renovations a handful of years ago. We put together a list of our needs because even if our site gets redeveloped for affordable housing, which is something that City of North Bend's talked about, that one's going to end up down the road 10 years. And I wasn't going to watch the senior center fall apart anymore because it's hard. It's demoralizing. And what it says to seniors is that you're not valued, right? It's okay if there's holes in your floor. That's all right. Just walk around it. That's not good. So we started doing renovations, and we thank you for your help. We created a small group classroom, which is fabulous. It's really earthy, and I wish I had thought about meeting in there. I'd show you around, but I stuck to my chair. And then we recarpeted the back hallway, which had previously been the SVT offices, and we created a senior lounge. We got a couple of big screen TVs. We're watching movies back there. People are starting to play games, and so we've created the senior lounge. We recarpeted the dining room, and then we painted it. Oh, and we refloored the nurses. It's, for lack of a better name, it's called the nurse's office. It's where our senior advocate sits and where foot care and dental care happens. We painted our dining room, our hallway, our classroom, and the nurse's office. And we're pretty far into a pretty big budget for these things. But there's more. Wait, what? There's more? Let me tell you, there's more. We got a $310,000 grant to replace the roof, which is great because it has a leak. We
That's
are
awesome.
replacing the multi-purpose room floor. We are renovating the restrooms in the old part of the building, the two not so great restrooms. And we're redoing our entryways. So this is good stuff. At that point, I've only got a handful of things left to do on a list that, I'll come back and talk to you guys about that one later. But what I'm really excited about is that you guys, when you come back, because we're an existing construction project, we get to do that work now, which is
Perfect. Yeah,
So
that's great.
never let a bad situation be anything but a great opportunity, right?
Yeah,
So
find the silver lining.
always do. So we're doing these renovations. Knock on wood, it gets done before we open, because we won't open until phase 4. The fact is, phase 2 and phase 3 would have us mitigating so many things and becoming the protocol police. And that's not a great use of our resources, because we lose money every month, and we would be losing. I'd have to bring people back just to be protocol police, and we'd lose even more money while the demand may not be there, because the fact is, the health order says over 65, you're supposed to stay at home. And if we contravene a public health order, we suddenly have this massive liability on our hands. So I'm also the liability police here. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just take advantage of the situation. So that's what we've been doing. And and that's my report in verbal form today.
Well, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Does anybody have questions? I'm sure there are questions. Anybody?
Hey, Susan, do you guys still have a relationship with the Snoqualmie tribe with the transportation?
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for asking. Yeah, the tribe still funds the Snoqualmie Valley, the SVT, and starting, was it last year, they started funding the senior center as well. And we've had a nice relationship with them, and they provide food at holidays and stuff. We really like them, and they kind of really like us.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the one question I have for you, Susan, is, do you even sleep?
No, not a lot. I do sleep. It's not good though. It's not good sleep. I work a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing how much.
My heart's in this. I work a lot, and I'm hoping to find a little balance this year.
Yeah.
because I haven't found it during COVID. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand that.
but I love going. I'm like sort of like this rabid dog about money. Money,
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna go after it, and I have to make promises that I'm not going to that I have to go after money that is only about stuff we currently do for the next year. My board president, Scott Lowe, said, do not come up with any big ideas. Or just something. So,
Hey, Susan.
yeah,
My
Nancy.
question is, yeah, hi. My question is, with your coalition with the 5 groups, will that include the YMCA or Helping Hands Ministry?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. That's a good question. The YMCA was actually involved in the working group. Deborah Montalaro was involved, which was really great. So they were part of developing that, the sort of the approach, the strategies, right, that we would implement. There's been changeover. Deborah's now in Seattle. She's in Seattle, right? And also, oh gosh, his name, the top person's been replaced as well.
Nate.
Golly, Nate, thank you. So we've got to make some new relationships there, and we will do that. There's going to be a governance board overlooking the whole implementation and what the supportive community for all is. We're about to start looking at how to make sure that that group's very inclusive, that we've hit every sort of pocket of the community that we need to hit. With Snoqualmie Valley Alliance and with Helping Hands, we have been talking with, and Emily has been involved in, Emily Ridout has been going to Friends of Supportive Community for All. Bailey Botten was involved in the working group as well. We had other churches also involved in, and also the mosque to some degree involved in the development of the strategies that we're implementing. We're trying to be very inclusive, but we also know that at some point we have to find new and innovative ways for people to engage. So the next work in front of us is to develop that governance group, to onboard actually a program director, because it's been a tremendous amount of work. My entire 5 hours every Monday is spent on this, and has been for several years now. And that's all of us on the partner group, partner team. And so, yeah, we're looking at the different groups of people that need to be convened for each piece of this, and where do folks fit. And I'm, like I said, for me, I'm the technology wonk on the team. And so my little baton that I'm going to carry is the implementation of this software, which would have been great to have during COVID. It would have complemented the work that happens on the emergency operations calls that happen every Monday morning, led by Mark Carrera. So, yeah.
Wow.
You guys didn't get a ski season this year. You didn't do the meal, the bag lunches, did you?
We did. Yeah, we did them. Yeah, we did. We got it done in, was it February, Nancy? First part of February?
Sorry,
maybe?
I was on mute. Yeah, we did it in February. They did have it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nancy, you're right in the middle of my computer screen. That's what made me think about the meals.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've done
Yeah, that was
that
fun.
for quite a few years now. Yeah. Well, the one thing that we had to put off was our challenge race, so the gravity car race for kids with disabilities. We have it scheduled for September, and I'm really not very optimistic that we're going to be able to do it at all this year, but we'll see. We'll see.
It's a hard one. And then the golf tournament, is that a?
We're still hoping. We've moved it. We have moved it to the very end, the last Friday in August. We haven't canceled it yet. So we're seeing, it's possible that we could still have it, but it may not look the same as it has in years past.
No, we are having this, Leroy.
There you go. That's what
We are doing this. One way
we
or the
are
other.
doing this. We're going to do it. Yeah, so we're really hoping we can pull that one off, and we have a SIP Fest meeting tomorrow. Actually, I think we're going to discuss that, and yeah, we're still hopeful. We haven't canceled all these things. We're just, it's like when all of this started, it's literally one day at a time. And the interesting thing is, after 3 months, we're still saying that. Well, it's one day at a time. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll figure it out. We are, though, thanks to NEAR, we are looking at other ways to create sponsorships, and we're doing different things than we have in the past to try and raise money to give back to the community. And I think we're really off to a pretty darn good start.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's hard. We moved our fundraiser, which we were really relying on that. And we moved it to an online fundraiser, and everyone thought, oh, this is never going to work. Forget it. This is the worst possible time to be asking for money. And of course, if you talk to fundraisers, they tell you it's the best possible time. But it's hard to convince people on a local fundraising team that that's the case. And we had a modest goal. Our giving program, our fundraising in terms of annual fundraising isn't really well developed. It's more developed than it was a couple of years ago. We don't have anyone who's fully 100% dedicated to fundraising, other than, if you were to carve out my time and how much time I spend on that, it's still not full time because there's so many other things to do. But we had set a modest goal of $45,000, and I think as of yesterday we were about $25 short of $53,000. Fact
Wow.
is, the gap this year, if we were closed through into June, was going to be, not including the fundraiser, was going to be about I think it was going to be about $70,000. That seems high, but haven't looked at the number in a while because it's nauseating. I'm just going to keep working anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. But now we're looking at possibly, phase 4. What is that? August? So
Yeah.
we're going to be closed a bit longer. And they're saying that half the seniors aren't going to come back and half will.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to kind of be in a weird spot for a lot longer than we think, and
Yeah.
I don't know how to. Just to be true, very honest. Other than apply for grants, I don't really know how. I don't know how to gauge. And I'm supposed to do some budget prep this week. I don't even know how to gauge that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'll put a number down. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'll have it look like this year. I don't know. Like, that's as
Just
far
so
as I
much.
get.
Yeah. It's just so much uncertainty. It's just, it's everywhere. It really is.
But people told us. Who'd have thought that we could buy an apartment building so we can get this done? Right?
Yeah.
Came up with. We spent $50 and we got a $6.7 million deal done. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just don't have the answers yet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm convinced you'll figure it out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to when you guys can be back. I hear rentals. A lot of senior centers are moving to rentals now because that's the one thing
Yeah.
they can do. But
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
see.
we're excited. We're excited to be back, and we are coming back. So,
Oh, good.
know
I
that for sure.
I love that Charlie brought that to you guys, and I love that he brought it to us, and he brokered it and got
Yep.
it done. And
Yeah.
I love that it's a win-win for everyone. Win for us, win for the bakery, and win for you guys.
You
Yeah.
bet. Yeah.
Good.
you
Yeah,
bet.
really. I'm glad we did that. We've been talking about doing that for a while, and we finally did it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, and like I said, I'm excited that you'll see a new building, a newish building.
Yes, and Susan, if you ever need any help with figuring out that little courtroom, let me know. That courtyard, let me know.
Yeah. Leroy's referring to the fact that once everything's done, I really want to take that middle area where the plants are and get a deck up there and redo that so that seniors can just walk straight out and have this
They don't have
beautiful
to
protected sanctuary area. And I
don't have to
propose
deal with stairs and yeah.
Oh yeah.
no, that'll be so nice. I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to think about that yet. I've been told by the board president. I'm not-
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt to think about it and, take a look at it and just kind of get an idea what you got to do.
Yeah. You know, you're right.
I know a guy.
Yeah, yeah,
I know.
yeah. Nancy, Leroy could probably help you on that. He's kind of like an architect. He can probably get in there and figure something out for you guys.
Oh yeah, we can figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would make it really beautiful. People would stop talking about redeveloping the property. It'd be so nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Well,
Leroy,
that's
you're on.
that's
Leroy.
right.
Do it.
Well, that's what I do.
That's what. You
Yeah,
do.
I would, but I have told you, Susan, that I'd be more than happy to come down there and and figure that out and contribute some time and
I love
figure.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great cause.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm very much going to take you up on that because
Yeah, you should.
that,
You know where I'm at.
Yeah.
I just sit here all day. I'm in the same spot pretty much all day.
And there are lots of witnesses to that comment. So
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
This is
That's
being
right.
recorded.
That's right.
Yeah, it's totally
You're
recorded.
right, Steve. It is being recorded.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Well, we're really glad that you came and spoke with us today. That was awesome. That was a lot of great information, and and it's just we have really wanted to become more connected with the senior center, and I think we're we've always been connected with the senior center, but that's kind of a goal of ours. I think
good.
it's
It's
something
mine
we've
as well.
longed for.
Yeah,
So-
well, and it's been my goal to be more in touch with community groups. Now that I'm, I guess, out of my grant writing phase, except I'm not. But but see, there's no building for us to buy or to refi right now, so I should be
Yeah.
good.
Plus, the board told you not to be looking at other vendors.
Yeah.
Now, stay focused on
I know.
what you have.
I know you gotta tell the affordable housing people to stop contacting me then. We got the project for you, they say.
Oh,
That's this idea. We know how you could be central to making this happen. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. Well, I'm really glad to have had the opportunity to talk with y'all, and yeah, I definitely. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm tired.
she needs to go home, you guys. Let's let her go.
Yeah.
Susan, go home.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely,
so
Susan.
much. Oh my gosh. I've really enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing this weird thing where I stalk you by coming in early when you guys are having your meetings here.
Yeah.
I'll just
Yeah.
be like this sort of weird, I don't know if it's a leech or like this crew.
No, you're always welcome. Just come on in. We have a little something to munch on in there. And yeah, you're always welcome.
Always.
Always. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, it was really
Absolutely.
nice meeting y'all. And to see so many faces that I haven't seen in a while, and a couple of new faces, it's been really nice. Thank you so much.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
Great
you.
evening.
You.
We will. Thank you.
All right,
You
take
too.
care.
Get some rest. Get some rest,
I
Susan.
will. I will. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Susan. That was wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Good night.
Okay, the rest of you Rotarians, it's